43. I told you that I was born to write and fight for survival law. My genetic and parent-taught spirit, intellect, and drive. My father lectured against war to his family. My mother wrote letters to presidents in support of their loving interventions to improve our lives. I stand on their shoulders, and you leap up on mine to reach us and our rescued happy posterity to the stars. Not just 1, 10, or 20 years to doomsday. Technology, finance, war, and thief-looted government have perverted carnivores' vital drives, hunting instinct and survival talent, purpose, and strategy. Animal hunters always fought for survival, but since corrupting armies, technology, and finance, fortune hunters only imagine security while they ensure absolutely everyone's death. For 2 million years before farm, then world capture by military dictators and tax thieves, men hunted prey for meat with supreme individual physical power and superb organized hunting band strategy. Their female mates struggled and schemed, dawn to dark, to gather plant food and teach children self-protection and support, no less hunters for family survival. All the families guided each other to love, generating ethical wisdom, requiring more active love and care of each and other small band families. Their commandment number 1 was never touch another person with animal-killing weapons. Human murder, the ultimate violation of every one of our survival laws. All this divinely human Garden of Eden glory was because God in heaven made women our goddesses of earth. Social matriarchy, men ruling the carnivore's hunt only. Our mates and mothers ordered, put down your clubs and hatchets, bearded ones, and lose arguments with your women and kids without harming one hair on our heads. All humans, grandparents to children, were successful hunters of survival and love, physical, mental, verbal, and social, before the instinct befuddling, fatal without controlling law, corruption of technology. I've told you the story of our tragic descent from Eden, eating apples of riches and war, fearing and hating other different races and religion. Power and fortune hunters suddenly slaughtered the world over. Instinct now to hunt human prey, to fatten their families. Not totally insane when actually achieved, just evil. At most of the rest of humanity's expense, all held in terrible contempt and mortal danger to make me and my brood, race, army, religion, general, king, and business, top dogs and monarchs. Hunters and finders of absolute power uncut by a single just law. Such scorched earth freedom absolutely corrupting, abusing, and murdering. Once divinely good for all humans, hunting instinct, suddenly twisted bestial by tragic large community, military, and financial opportunities to steal and conquer. Plus every chance to hate and hurt all those guilty of being other races, religions, and nations, only needing destruction by your handy, hellacious army. Just under 110 years ago, exploding in every way, weapons factories began bribing our tax collectors to buy and use their slaughter machinery, bursting us into World Wars I, World War II, and 75-year rolling World War III, killing 300 million. Weapons companies keep getting richer than ever, selling TNT by the ton and uranium by the million-ton equivalent, all designed to slaughter entire cities. Then finally certain sans disarmament salvation to chain react even the conventional wars to 10,000 nuclear 100 million degree fires blasting out craters, 100 million tons of earth to sunblock the stratosphere for 2 years of black midnight, every cell on earth frozen 28 degrees dead. Most weaponeer corrupted leaders abrogating our 56-year-old ban-the-bomb treaty know damn well what their 8 billion victim terror promises really. Fossil fuel companies keep right on selling CO2 exploding fuel that they've known for generations will doom 100% of life by terminal drought upon the billions now living. Not just our shit-out-of-luck descendants. Addicts partying now. No tomorrow. Nobody's stopping them. 1 billion times worse than mom and dad methamphetamine junkies. Parental love and character hijacked. Knowing they're screwing the kids too. Just unable to kick the shit. Warriors, tax thieves, and polluters twisting hunting and hoarding instincts over to cash, weapons, and hate drugs. Answering constant withdrawal cravings by scratching every itch today. Just 2 industries, weapons and dirty energy, dooming us all real soon. Except now enter you, history's greatest, most benevolent hunter. I believe that you will triumph over every sick schemer and builder of entire death institutions because your love power, even if only 5% converted from private family care to public human family active love, will fast, legally deconstruct their selfish power, damn us all, machinery. Only our ongoing maximal attack and recruiting 1 billion helpers could possibly carry the day. No small feat, for the armies of death have carried 10,000 times, 365, 3,650,000 days in a bloody row. Well, I was a 50-year addict who finally beat it. A day at a time. So screw the bad, scary odds against us. Let's do it. We'll start by holding our Hunters' Council, staging the stalk around a crackling fire. We recount the deadly history and methods of humanity's enemies, not members. The power and murder freaks always got it done with huge armies and weapons they foxed us into buying. They designed bribery to corrupt leaders to dominate public messaging with patriotic and bigoted lies that far less rich and powerful election opponents could never compete with to win any more than 4% of American vote contests. American liars justify theft of $35 trillion that our grandkids must pay back out of their failing budgets. You see, our armies and other of today's government priorities gotta stay ever fatter. Heartless selfishness with just enough constituent payoffs to addict you to scratching your itches by voting for us. Okay, hunters for truth, love, and actual survival, we're working our stage 1 strategy, learning the human enemy's history as 10,000 years of sleeping victims never did, thus ever doomed to allow to suffer its ever more deadly repetition. The bad guy's domination is no mystery. 1 billion conspirator professionals putting in 2,000 annual hours apiece building their towering death institutions. Our side features maybe 100 million part-time activists getting good but modest results, taking on selected 1,000ths of their terminal death process. So our council decides to multiply that 100 million by 10 and attack the destroyer's biggest, not smallest weapons, while media blasting to persuade 75% of voters to throw them out for true, not fake, public servants. What are the destroyer's big weapons? To cut to the chase, let's box. Giant attack armies, our opponent's left hook. Murder weapons and industry, right cross. Politician bribery, uppercut. CO2 explosion, either hand's lightning jab. And freshwater and regular rain loss, desperately needing human technology replacement, the roundhouse haymaker about to blast 8 billion over the ropes into the third row. Lights out. Here's where I struggle. It took me 20 hours to voice a few trainers' tips for the blocks, our parries. Clearly you are needed for the focus and expertise to retire my disorganized babble, keeping maybe a few bits of springboard motivation and direction. Have I talked enough about survival solutions for you to take over? Who are the most powerful, brilliant, hopeful hunters in all history and prehistory? I am, and you are. We stand on the shoulders of 8 billion moms and dads, living or past, that ever hunted and fought, dawn to midnight, for the survival and thriving of their families with every physical and cerebral tool and technique for victory they could summon. Why all of their glorious success guiding most kids to loving adult and parenthood themselves? Love that made them 10 times more brilliant, patient, and strategic than folks who only drive a selfish agenda which ends up denying them any grateful lovers or loved ones payback. Proven by all researchers to make every human lover far happier, smarter, and longer into their 10-color sunset and over the rainbow to the pot of gold. And I don't mean money, honey. Suddenly you grab me by the collar. How lost are you in fantasy, stupid Steve? You're convinced that a bunch of family lovers are soon bound to whip up on and mop the floor with war and theft freaks who've kicked everyone's asses to doomsday for 10,000 helpless years without a 5-minute break? Let me feel your forehead. You're not well. All right, maybe I'm a touch touched, but let me ask you a question. Don't family lovers put 1,000% of our spirit and smarts into 24/7, 365 family care? Leaving maybe 10 minutes a year watching political candidates lie on TV, plus another 10 minutes to vote for the lesser evils. But don't the number of loving parents who do go public with a real chunk of their rescue power prove to be 10 times better fighters than mere corrupted money grubbers who indeed do crush the whole world rest of us who never train or put up our public dukes, only forever getting flattened by the fat system bosses? Well, that proves nothing except what everybody already knows, that retiring, lazy, defeatist cowardice in any arena, even from otherwise gutsy heroes on their own private family turf, ensures failure, not to mention hell on earth, because you never lifted a finger to start or try, right? Why have I told you 100 true human horror stories? Because I burn with the love that fueled my 57 years of research, anger, desperation, wide human concern, and smarts. Lost in addiction, family fear, and failure, I stumbled into public love out of sheer loneliness. Then I got well, and bingo! You're my love, honey. Not one of those billion war dead had to die, or billions more suffer ruined lives. Peace law would have saved everyone. Corrupt tools and opportunities, legal and illegal, destroyed everyone. I insist that we can and do remove each of those identified evil catalysts to save us all for our love and defense of everyone. And 20 billion more only never to even be born under the fool's evil system. So what must you do? Not that much. Just 5 minutes a day, every day. Go public with a bit more of your brilliant, clever, indefatigable power of human family love. 1 letter a week. Buttonhole 2 friends a month. Internet collaborate on a lawsuit over 6 months. You're up against mostly demoralized system cogs and captives, only pushing for an extra buck, another few years selling products and schemes that they suspect down deep not to have any human future. You'll meet them in court, hired, obligated defenders of your suits. The judge will listen to both sides. He or she will usually decide for the humanity that both plaintiffs and judge care about, exploding your morale and seriously harming the prospects and confidence of the perps facing our next 10 courtroom assaults. Their plan is to scam, war, and pollute for the last few years of spoils. Your heart, body, and mission is already strapped into the heaven-bound rocket to your kids' and posterity's million years of joy they'll love and thank you for. And you've got no problem with decades more fun for you and your honey either. Joy you scheme and burn for today, while the dying establishment defenders rot without purpose, hope, vision, or love for any more than cold money and pointless temporary power. They have conspired to 10 millennia's supremacy, but many begin to suspect that their filthy, violent commerce is due to destroy all, themselves and their children too. But you, John Paul Jones, have not yet begun to fight. Now, the very day, the minute you pick up a bat and step up to the plate, God's gonna wrench out of his despairing funk and say, Well, now, when my helpers help each other, that's when my love and theirs, the ones with the mouths, muscles, mouses, and phones, conquer every titanic danger and foolish destroyer. Now let's blow your love bomb on 1,000 misguided planets. Or 1,000,000 if we don't wait till the last damn second. Some gratifying modern history. Countless scientific, medical, social, and political reform succeeded wherever partial democracies toppled tyrannical monarchies, military dictators, and also first reduced public corruption. FYI, I ask every citizen of every nation to work for our every reform needed inside and outside of your country. Identify the death powers, then press law to replace each one with life rescue laws and programs. Get cracking, because the last century of bribery, weapons, war, CO2, and lately drought explosions have not yet been countered by any movements with the barest fractions of reversal potential. I certainly am excited by the mass rescue possibilities of 1,500 private federal lawsuits demanding environmental protection from governments and industries, including energy and vehicle transportation. However, I am utterly terrified by worldwide failure to fully recognize, much less oppose, weapons, drought, and forest death doomsdays. Tell me where any focused leadership exists to attack these worst emergencies, other than my now lonely rants. Is my worry that we all could do a lot worse by not getting me out self-centered? My sister broke her arm trying to break her fall. You're worried that I might break mine patting myself on the back. My silly fantasy has always been, only I can save the world. A common conceit. Who said, only I can fix it? The Donald. Who else? The 1,500 lawsuits I yell for to build freshwater technology will never be filed unless hundreds of millions are educated about thirst and hunger doomsdays. And who's gonna galvanize equivalent mass movements to comprehensively, not just fractionally attack to reverse, cancel the CO2, weapons, and corruption, whole humanity destroyers? You'd better multiply you and me. Tough jobs, but somebody's gotta start doing them, right? Somebody love bombing to everybody. I'm just da fuse. You da boom.